So everyone, if you are watching post-race, this is just a quick intermission, whatever you like to call it, before the race starts, getting everyone sorted in and ready to go. And if you're more welcome to skip to the intro, which should be when everyone is ready up, hopefully in no more than around about 5 minutes time. We've already got 16 people in, and it's looking to be a good race. And you may have noticed some slight channel changes, just thought it'd be nice for a bit of an update. Change it to Zach Sweeney, make it a bit more personal, and get the new profile picture and everything. Just feel like it would make it a little bit more personal and everything of the sort. So YouTube. We will also send it. Welcome. Pleasure to have you all in here tonight with me. It's a pleasure to be talking you through tonight. Just need to, there we are. So yeah, go get your cups of tea, go get everything you might need. Welcome back, Cedric. Pleasure to have you like last week. I think my voice is just about recovered from last week. I mean, I felt so rough for like the entire week. I think it was last Sunday they pretty much did it. Last weekend in fact. I felt so rough all week, but I seem to be all good coming in today. So hopefully you don't wreck it now. It's only just gotten better. I'm joking. If my voice isn't wrecked, then what's the point? We need to make sure everything's done. Welcome everyone into the stream. It's a pleasure to have you all here. Hopefully we can get started rather soon. And a pleasure to have you all. We've got Patterson in, whose son is 100% going to at some point take my job. But we'll allow that. We'll allow that. William definitely going to be an up and coming commentator, hopefully. But yeah, hopefully we can get going pretty soon, as it is coming up towards 6 o'clock. We've got Andy cheering on Paus. Lovely to see. I mean, he's coming off the back of a podium last week, and some really good performances recently. Really shone. Just found that new drive, found that new wind and speed recently. Those last couple of weeks, he's been really on it, week in, week out. And it's nice to see him consistently up there. Of course, took the on-track win in Belgium a couple of weeks ago. Of course, penalties did set him back, but on a default setup, that is a really good effort. And of course last week converting it to a podium, and overall just driving really well, especially in the main feature race. So yeah, it's nice to see Puffs up there. We've got some really good drives and really good drivers overall. Of course, Davila, Paus, both Alphas doing really well. Patterson with a new wind coming into the season. Ted, of course, really dominant, really consistent all season. We've had the likes of Sumo up there, Vardy as well, continuing his form, and Scott as well. We've had some really good contenders, so it's really come down to consistency and who can recover well in the sprint. And we've got Paul, we've got Mark. Hello everyone, pleasure to have you all. We got Ethan with his fans. Mark, it's not Sweens anymore. Well, it is. It is. It is there. But on the YouTube, it's just it's Zach's really. I've changed. I've looked more professional, guys. Sweeney Z will always be the PlayStation name, though. Don't you worry. Yeah, pleasure to have you all. We've got 10 people watching before the stream is even properly getting underway, and yeah, it's always be Sweens. All right. And by the same logic, you're going to be Taylorum. Evening, pals. But yeah, pleasure to have you all in and ready to get going for tonight. If you are gonna, well, if you do end up enjoying it during the stream, do make sure to hit that like button. It does help a lot. Subscribe to the channel. 430 subscribers now we've hit in such a short amount of time. It's a pleasure to have you all supporting the channel, and yeah, really loving the support. Really appreciate it from everyone, and I'm glad you enjoy me screaming at pretend race cars enough to come along and cheer your favourites on. It's lovely to have you all here. Martin, why stop at Martin? I'm taking Crofties, obviously. No. Well, I'll definitely remember you. Of course, you've got that autograph. You can always sell it. It'll be worth quite a lot. I'll put it on eBay when I'm in probably 5 or 6 years' time. Put it on eBay and make a bit. That is the plan. That's going to be the plan. Hopefully, we can see it through. Fingers crossed. We've got a few people. And the stream hasn't even started. We've already got a squeaky door, but we are getting underway, guys. Exactly, you do. We are getting underway. So, hello and welcome everyone. You are here for the penultimate round, round number 7 of the APPF1 Sunday Night Sprint Championship. Ted comfortably leads the standings with 205 points, 15 ahead of teammate Vardy coming into Baku. So today we head to 2 very contrasting circuits. First to the twisty streets of Azerbaijan, a tough circuit renowned for its tendency to produce safety cars, tight corners and a 2-kilometre straight. Baku will certainly be fun. Then we head to Europe and to the mountains of Styria. That's right, we go to the Red Bull Ring for the reverse grid race. 3 DRS straights followed by heavy braking zones and a tight twisty middle sector. Austria's 10 corners of flat out action, and having the fast cars cut their way through is going to be a spectacle to watch. So, who is going to come out on top today? I'm Zach Sweeney, talking you through today's Sprint Championship, brought to you by TC Focus on Instagram. And while we wait for everyone to load in, we've got a one-shot qualifying followed by 2 25% sprint races, around about 14 laps each. I believe Austria is 18 laps, and Austria, of course, the reverse grid, so completely reversed. So first starts last, last starts first, provided there's no retirements, which, knowing Baku, there probably will be. Welcome, Moosey, into the stream. Nice to see you. Nice to see everyone. And we're looking forward to a really good race. We've got Grandad Bonkers in as well. So one-shot qualifying is going to be very crucial here. While it's not impossible to overtake a Baku, it is definitely difficult, but should be more than okay. They've got a 2-kilometre straight to the longest straight on the calendar. In fact, 2 kilometres. The back straight at Baku coming onto the pit straight. A long DRS zone with long slipstream, so it should be good. But the middle sector should be really difficult to overtake, but not impossible at all. We've obviously got the renowned, infamous castle section, famed for being a castle, but also in 2019 when Charles Leclerc had his bit of an incident. I think we all remember. Back then, the famous "I am stupid" quote. But we will go on board with the runner-up in the championship. Actually, no, we'll go on board with Paus. We'll give Paus a little bit of screen time. Coming towards turn 1, you want to be looking for that curb. Third gear, hit that inside curb, run it out to the edge of the apex, and then coming towards turn 2, braking just as that barrier dips in the middle there. Third gear, get the car to roll through. A bit shaky on the exit, but DRS wide open now as he comes through and hurdling towards turn 3 in excess of 200 miles an hour. Going to be looking out for the 100 board again, braking just before it, down the gears. You want to get a nice early apex, roll the car out, use that momentum to roll through. Paus doesn't look to be on a pretty good lap here at the moment. He's only 15th in the first sector, hoping to bring that back, but it's probably incredibly close. Now coming towards turn 5 and 6. Really nice clip that there. You don't want to clip that inside curb, and he's nailed that, jumping himself up to P6. Now coming towards turns 8 and towards the castle section. Again, want to hit a nice early apex, use the curb to rotate the car. Davila at the moment, provisional pole, followed by Ted, and Rasto and Sumo both doing really well. Paus negotiating castle very well, hitting the right apex, is really nailing that and using the throttle to turn the car. Now hurdling through turn 12, 13 and 14 on the run down towards 15. That downhill braking zone, looking just after the 100 board and down to third gear. Don't want to hit that curb on the inside unless you're very, very brave. Does gain you time, but it's very difficult. Towards turn 16, the last braking zone of the track, really got to get a good exit. It's important to maximising it. Now through turn 17 into 18, completely flat out, just got to minimise the steering, and P5 at the moment for Paus, whose teammates on provisional pole. Rasto and Sumo giving each other a run to the line as well. DRS open then, there's going to be a long run to the line. He's got to maximise it, make sure he keeps that steering wheel straight, don't lose any extra time. It's a really good qualifying session for Paus, and Davila on pole, a 38.9, 7 tenths clear of Rasto in P2, but an incredibly close midfield there from Rasto, Sumo, Ted, Paus, all within a couple of tenths of a second. But Vardy, a main championship protagonist, down in P17. Another retirement for Vardy in qualifying. And you can sort of excuse it because Scott and Vardy both running elite assists, so best way to practice. But Davila takes pole ahead of Rasto, with Sumo rounding off the top 3. Ted and Paus in the top 5. Tier P6 for Faces P7, Conan P8, Aces vs Kings P9, Starry an impressive qualifying in P10, Patterson P11, S-Man P12, attempted the mediums, didn't quite work out from though, only a couple of tenths off the top 10, Giza Giza in P13, QB P14, Scott P15, did not hook that lap up at all, with no traction and no line, Wayne P16, and Vardy rounding off the grid in P17. He's got his work cut out for him if he wants to get his way through the field and maybe close the gap to Ted in the championship. 15 points is the gap between the two. Ted just being that a little bit more consistent and a little bit more fortunate, you could say. Of course, both have had bad luck, but Ted has been on it week in, week out, really coming into the season punching. And Vardy may have to just play second fiddle for the second season in a row. We get ready now. Cars lined up on the grid. We'll have a short formation lap while the cars get themselves warmed up. Of course, Parc Ferme is in action. Parc Ferme says, of course, the exact setup you have to run that you went out in qualifying in, you have to run in the race. Bar a couple of changes, you can tweak certain tyre pressures and the front wing and certain suspension components. Of course, your brake bias as well. But other than that, completely locked. Most of the camber settings and wheel geometry completely locked for the race. So it's crucial to make sure you can get that. Bluey has joined us. Just going to miss out on the first race, unfortunately. But not long now until lights out. Davila leads away. 13 laps of Baku we are in store for. He's followed by Rasto, who I believe is new. I haven't seen Rasto, at least for a particularly long time. He's going to be in the McLaren for tonight. Already coming guns a-blazing though, rocking out the front row. So let's see what his racecraft is like. You can see everyone weaving around, getting that tyre temperature in. Have a quick look at the tyre compound choice. The entirety of the top 10 on the softs, the entirety outside of that on the mediums. Of course, those who qualify outside the top 10 get a free choice of tyre. So going for the strategical game in this, so Patterson probably in a really good position for some midfield points, bar if there's no early safety car, which knowing Baku there quite possibly could be. It's a short run to the line, short run to T1 I should say, apologies. It's a very long run to the line from turn 16. It's a short run to T1, you've got 17 cars all going into there and it's really tight, easy to make a mistake, so hopefully everyone can keep it clean. And for Davola's sake, he needs to get himself off and going because, yeah, Davola always up there. Don't think he's gotten pole this season so far. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he has. So he's going to be having a clear road ahead of him. Just needs to maximise that start, make sure he can get himself off well. And then try and control the race from there. Incredibly consistent as Davola. Predicted pit stop strategy, soft to medium or soft to hard. Picking around that lap 5 to 8 mark is when we should expect the cars to dive their way in for some fresh boots. And I would second that. Only time you should probably agree with the AWS Insights, F1 Insights graphics. They're not always particularly accurate, but they seem to be holding up in these 25% races. Now Davola, you can see, really backing everyone up. Does not want to leave any room on the table, but Vardy really taking his time there at the back of the field. You can see the legal limit is 10 car lengths to the car in front. He seems to be just over that a little bit. Just by a tad, 13 people in. Thank you to everyone for tuning in just in time for the race start. You can see Davola really backing everyone up, making sure there's no gaps, so when he lines up, everyone's got he doesn't have to wait too long to warm the tyres up. But Vardy is waiting a really incredibly long time. Which is certainly strange, but he's warming himself up, he's warming his tyres up. And if he can get an advantage by making everyone else in front of him start on some particularly colder tyres, that's going to give him that extra grip advantage off the line. So you can see why he does it. Welcome Liam, it's a pleasure to have you in. Hope you're doing well. Liam Talks Motorsport, an incredible YouTuber, incredible young lad, very articulate with knowledge about Formula 1. So if you get a minute, do make sure to go check him out. It's a pleasure to have you in the stream for tonight. And now lining up to the grid is Davola, followed by Rasto. Sumo's there as well. Championship leader Ted looking to solidify a championship lead going into the final round. Around tonight. Lovely to hear Liam. He's going to be starting from the second row. He's going to be on the inside, Ted, so a good start. Could definitely see him up the inside of Sumo, potentially even Rasto, following Rasto through on Davola. We could see it. We've seen stranger things. And now waiting for Vardy at the back. Yeah, he's waiting a really long time. Everyone's going to be sat for quite a while. Luckily, these softs can get up to temperature pretty darn quickly. As they are, the red mark soft tyres, they do heat up rather quickly. 13 laps ahead of us then, and the green flag is being waved. And we now go to 5 red lights ahead of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It's so crucial. They're revving the cars up. We've got 5 red lights. And we're underway and racing. It's a pretty good start from the McLaren of Rasto, but Davola's got a pretty good second phase. He's going to be looking on the inside. The McLaren up the inside. There's a bit of contact between the two. He's managed to save it, so that's Sumo up into P2. Very good start, very opportunistic. Now Ted running side by side with Rasto as well to the outside of turn number 2. Rasto on the inside makes a bit of contact with the Red Bull. Very nicely done. Is that Davola going sideways? Yes, it is on the exit of turn 2. So that's going to let Sumo inherit the race lead. So now Davola on the back foot. Now hurtling towards turn number 3. That is Paus on the inside of Rasto. He's going to go for it. Maybe he's going to have a little look, but not quite going to be able to convert. Aces trying to funnel his way through. Paus putting the pressure on Rasto, coming towards turn number 5. Everyone trying to funnel their way through. Tears being a little bit tapped on the back by the Ferrari of Conan, I believe. He's managed to keep that position. Now the two Ferraris going side by side towards turn 6 and 7. Tears going to jump that curb, but back at the front, is anything happening? Davola setting in behind Sumo, who seems to have some really good race pace at the moment, followed by Ted and Rasto with a really poor start. So the front row not getting off to some particularly good starts. Vardy up 2 places as well as they all negotiate Castle for the first time. Ethan up to Patterson. There's yellow flags through that sector. Is that Vardy had a bit of an off? Yes, it is. There's been contact between him and Wayne going into the Castle section, so it's going from bad to worse with Vardy. There's a full course yellow. Excuse me. And it is a full... Oh no, it's only a VSC. It's a virtual safety car. So they have to adhere to a 40% race speed delta. And while the debris is cleared, Wayne can get himself going again. But certainly a less than ideal start to this race for Vardy. He would have loved to get himself going a little bit better. But Sumo leads lap 1. Davila diving into the pit lane, so he's going to take this opportunity from the VSC and grab it, and maybe go to the hards towards the end. Maybe he's picked up some damage, who knows. But with everyone going a little bit slowly, he can gain from this. He's not going to lose as much time from the pit stops. I'm going to guess he's going on the hards to the end of the race. If there's Rasto with a drive-through for speeding under the VSC. And Davila goes to the mediums. Will they go to the end? Potentially could. Very lively start. And we are back under green flag racing though, so the VSC didn't stay out for very long. Davila's managed to come out. He's on the mediums, and at the moment is towards the tail end of the grid. We've got a bit of a timing error at the moment, which is certainly less than ideal. But at the moment it's Rasto trying to chase after Paus after his VSC drive through, and he's going to have to serve that within the next couple of laps. So that's promoted Paus up into what is now a P3, net P4 after pit stops probably filtered themselves out. Yeah, cheers Tom. Should probably know that by now, but probably me just being a little bit stupid. Sumo leads the way. There's yellow flags through sector 2, which is very strange. That is S-Man in the wall parking it, reversing onto the track. That's Davila having to avoid him, very close to disaster there. Really flirting with disaster. We've got Scott chasing after Keyser, getting himself into that top 10 nearly. Conan on the back of Rasto. He's deploying the ERS. He's going to have DRS on the end of the next lap, or the start of this lap I should say. He's in the slipstream. He doesn't even need the DRS though. He's closing in the Ferrari. He's going to pull to the outside. And is he going to get himself into P4? Yes he is, because Rasto has to pull in to serve his drive-through. Lap 3 now. DRS has been enabled. And Davila on an absolute charge. Ace is in as well as Rasto. Who, yeah, that's a very tough penalty to serve. Not one you want to have to serve. Does cost you almost as much as a pit stop, not quite as much. So not as bad as say a stop and go. But Rasto, as he exits the pit, goes side by side with the Geezer and has a bit of a moment. Taps the wall. Is there damage to the front wing of that McLaren? There definitely well could be. He's got Scott, his teammate, all over the back of him in his mirrors, filling his mirrors as he comes towards turn 3, but I don't think Scott wants to get too involved. Patterson on the back of Tier as well. Patterson with some incredible race pace so far. 5 places gained, and we often see that with Patterson. He does cut his way through the field very effectively. And on those mediums, on a really good strategy. Going to go long and then have a good final stint. That is Paus round. Is that Paus? Yeah, it is Paus that has a spin through Castle. What has happened there? He's had a bit of an off, and now he's fallen further down the field. Still settling into P6, but that's going to be less than ideal for the Alfa Romeo driver, who was driving really comfortably in P3, but now on the back foot. We've got Davila closing on to Scott as well, getting onto the back of this 4-car train. 4P8. Scott goes a little bit too deep. Davila having a little look. Excuse me. But back up to the front. Patterson closing on Tier. He's using his energy recovery system. He's got the DRS, the drag reduction system. He's going to pull to the inside. Should be a pretty plain sailing move to get himself into the top 4. And the Mercedes not going to fight that one too hard. And that is Patterson now flying with some pace. Paus into the pit lane. Here comes Davila. He's managed to clear Scott already before the DRS zone. Rasto pulling to the inside. He might have some damage, so here comes Davila. He's going to clear all 3 of them within the sequence of about 4 corners down the inside into turn 1 for the Alfa Romeo. Keys are looking on the outside, but Davila just got the pace, and Scott couldn't really find a way through. Tried, but couldn't quite find it. Now, staying with Patterson, not at all letting him out of his sights, but Patterson probably going to start extending this gap. Over the course of the next couple of laps or so, already pulled out a second, yeah, you can see, but Tier driving really well, as is Starry up in 5th and 6th. Really mixed up grid at the moment, with some early pits. Curious when the likes of Sumo and Ted are going to pit, but Sumo and Ted both with some incredible pace so far. Sumo really consistent at the front, 2.5 second lead. Sort of battling against the time with with Ted. He's trying to creep into that sub 2 second, I should say, and then if he's within sub 1 second, he can have a go with DRS. But Scott really struggling. You can see now, really shaky. Can't quite get past Kizagiza. Usually someone that's at the front is Scott, and seems to really be struggling here at Baku. Double front lockup as well going into turn 15. That almost ended him into the barrier, but that is Sumo into the pit lane on the lap 5 mark, as the F1 Insights did predict. That's Conan also into the pits in the Ferrari. So Ted and Patterson going long. Patterson expectedly going long, but Ted going for that extra lap. Confident in these soft tyres to carry him that much forward. Where is Davila though? This is going to be the interesting thing. Sumo has still come up. Davila with the fastest lap. He is the fastest man on track. But still going to have to settle him behind Sumo, unfortunately. So that early pit stop did cost him. And he's going to have the worst tyres towards the end of the race as well, which is not going to help. Here is Hephaestus on the back of Kizagiza. He's going to pull to the inside, the AlphaTauri with DRS himself, but it's not enough to stop the charging Racing Point. Hephaestus, an incredibly quick driver as well, had an impressive debut in its first race here in Brazil. And he drove well there, I believe a P6 or a roundabout, and he's continued to be really good. The Renault's having a bit of a switcheroo. It looks like Starry's not going to fight that one too harshly with his teammate. And Sumo now back into the top 3, chasing after Ted and Patterson, who he's not too far off. He's only 15 seconds off Ted at the moment, and he's already pit. So these mediums really coming alive for him early, and this outlap really crucial. So Ted might not be on it this lap. This in lap is really crucial for him, and that is very sideways for Hephaestus. Managed to hang on. Kizagiza having a bit of a tap with the wall. And now Tier's going to have a little look. He's going to engage the ERS, but tap the wall on his way through turn 13 and 14. Not the wisest place to go for a move is here, especially when you got the long DRS straight. Ted into the pit lane. So where he's going to come out in comparison to Sumo is going to be interesting. And Starry also going to follow him in the Renault. Where is Ted in comparison to Sumo? He's lost a heck of time there. The gap was around about 2 seconds as he come into the pits, and has stayed around there, so he's still sort of there. The gap hasn't changed too much, in fact. I do stand corrected, but Scott up to P6 as Starry and Kiza settle their way back into this race. Here comes Tier having a little look at Paus, maybe into turn 2, going to back out of that one though and decide better of it. Very intelligent there. The faces maybe looking on Scott. He's eyeing him up. He's in the slipstream. He pulls out, but you can just see as soon as he pulls out, he's got nothing to use, and a bit of a tap there sends Scott in deep, and that could be some damage to the Racing Point. Luckily, no one really majorly hurt in that little bit of an exchange. I stand corrected. Ted has actually gained some time from going longer. He's gained around a couple of tenths or so, especially on this opening lap, and is now sub 2 seconds, so still charging after him. Lap 6 of 13, almost halfway through. A very, very difficult track to get right. Very similar to Monaco and Singapore. You're on the limit, especially through turn 9, like here you see here with the castle section. You have to be pinpoint precision. And the wall is never too far away, so very tricky circuit to get right, and the fact we've got no retirement so far is something special. Got aces on the back of QB as well. Little snippets of groups. Scott with a very poor run coming off turn 15. That's going to invite Hephaestus to go up the inside of 16. Scott still on his outside, maybe no. He's going to concede this one. He's got Paus all in his mirrors though, so Paus looking to get involved, get himself up a couple of positions. Going to back off this one. And now has Scott very visibly picked up some damage there. Really struggling through those sequence of corners. Holding Paus up a little bit, and he's going to almost certainly have to pit. So Tier setting after Paus as well. He's closing with DRS. He's going to pull to the outside. Paus tries to defend, but is it going to be enough towards turn 1? He's on the inside. Can he get the move done? Tier's on the outside. Goes through him. Goes for the cutback. It'll be the inside for turn number 2. But Paus is going to hang on for this one and stay in P7. Hephaestus 1.5 seconds up the road, so if Paus can recover to around about P6 or so, that would definitely be a good drive on his part. Definitely shows to have the pace too. And don't forget, we've still got the reverse grid race And already under 1 second is Paus really charging on these set of medium tyres, and he's bringing Tyr with him. Tyr just sat as sort of a caravan in tow as he goes in very deep there, but I believe that was more down to lag than anything. But yeah, Paus definitely charging. He's got some really good pace so far. And that is Patterson now finally into the pit lane, going long on those mediums. He'll have a quick fast stint on those softs though. Could find himself in a good shout for the midfield. Paus closing on the faceless. Is he close enough for turn 1? He's got the DRS, he's got that tow hook, he's got it sort of locked in, but again, not going to push the button, going to choose to sit behind. Where is Patterson coming out? He's come out in P5. Patterson on an absolute charge now. And with these softs, do not be surprised if we see him on the podium. 3 seconds off at the podium at the moment. And with these softs, he's going to look ever so quick. Just doesn't need to let it go to his head. He needs to keep his focus, keep his cool. And I'm not going to be surprised if we see him there. He's driving absolutely faultlessly so far today. Or maybe it's his son racing. We all know his son is an incredible commentator, but maybe he's taken over the reins for the wheel today. Tyr going in very deep. He's lost a lot of time to Paus on this lap. So Paus now been left alone to tackle Hephaestus and get his way through. He's banking a lot of ERS through this middle sector to use down the straight. Ethan definitely going well, and he's got the fans cheering him in the background as well. He's using his overtake, but maybe a little bit too early. Still a fight for P3 going on. Conan in the DRS of Davila. Tyr very much off there at turn 16. Not too sure what's happened there. He's really fallen off recently, and he's left the session. So that's Starry up into P8. Paus closing on Hephaestus, who appears to be pulling himself into the pit lane. So Paus up to P6. Incredible stuff, and the fight for the podium ongoing. Down towards turn 3, Ethan not quite on this lap, but he's going to eye it up. He's got the pace advantage for sure, just needs to bottle up some ERS and use it all at once to get through. Looking for the move through turn 7, goes purple to the first sector. So Patterson with some incredible pace so far this race, especially in the second stint, really coming alive on those softs. Fastest man on the circuit at the minute, but he's got the mobile chicane of Conan in the way. No disrespect to Conan, but that is just how quick Ethan is. And that's Rasto getting past here as well into the top 8, going well and recovering well from his VSC incident. Definitely Paus driving really well, recovering from his couple of incidents earlier on in this race, but Paus really recouping himself and recomposing himself well to get up there. Ethan trying to use that backwards momentum. He's going to have the DRS that Conan doesn't. Maybe Conan on the cusp as we approach the DRS detection zone. He's 1/10 out, so he's not going to have it, so only going to make Ethan's job that much easier. He's going to have overtake, he's going to have DRS, the drag reduction system, propelling him down 10 miles an hour quicker down this straight towards T1, and a fastest lap too. And that's Patterson cleanly into the top 4. Very nicely done. And now setting his sights on Davila. The Williams on a charge. And we've also got Hephaestus fighting with QB. Going side by side for P10. Hephaestus on the inside, QB on the outside as they bang wheels towards turn 1. Around the outside, can QB get it? No, he can't. Hephaestus going to cover that off. Really, really well done. And Patterson on the cusp of maybe getting himself on the podium. Pole sitter Davila really not stringing it well together in this race. Not stringing it together at all. And might find himself off the podium. But Ted and Sumo can't knock them at all. Both been driving really equally. And now setting his sights on Davila for P3. QB on the back of Face. There's still Tier on the back of Vardy. But only going backwards because his AI has taken control, and Vardy on those hards not having the best race. Always got the reverse grid race though. Here he goes. He's got about 20%. He's got quite a lot more than Davila in front. He's got it all to use down the straight. Davila going to try and use it to defend, but he's not got a lot to use. And now closing, not long till DRS is enabled as we hurdle towards turn 1 down this pit straight. Is he closing enough? He's only got a few miles an hour in his pocket, but he is closing, and he's closing fast. Another fastest lap for Ethan. And a lap 11 of 13. He's all over the back of that Alfa Romeo now. You can see he's desperate to get through. He knows a podium is possible here. Through turn 2. And DRS now down towards turn number 3. Has he got enough? He's closing. Davila thinking twice and going to the inside. Back to the outside. Here comes Ethan to the inside for the podium place. Up the inside, late braking. He's going to claim that. Davila running all the way outside to the track, but Patterson claiming the corner, claiming it as his, and that is him up into P3 and flying away now. With Aces coming into the pit lane, probably for some for a new wing. So Ethan now all down to him to the end of the race. He's got a little bit of a fuel deficit, so may need to start saving. Used a little bit too much and trying to get through, but only a couple of laps left to go. He's definitely looking good pace wise at least. Purple to the middle sector and 6/10 up on his time. He is on an absolute flyer here. Already with the fastest lap than the last 2 laps. Going even quicker. He's completely dropped Davila behind as well this lap. Practice pays off. It certainly does. Practice making perfect. And shortest run to the line. Ethan knows this is a good lap across the line. It's only a 42.3 actually. He lost a lot of time in that final sector. And Davila sticking with him. Maybe these softs are slowly starting to hit the cliff as we go on to the penultimate lap. Patterson P6 as well, driving really well. Starry P7, a great drive from him so far in this race. Really, really liking the streets of Baku. As you all cross the line and the intervals sort themselves out. Davila, yes, sticking with that 1 second. Down to him to bank it up, and remember Ethan is low on fuel. He needs to start saving, lifting and coasting. Whatever it might be. But he's going to be starting to look backwards rather than forwards now as the softs hit their cliff. Vardy making his way into the top 10 as well, getting past QB. Sumo at the front though, really, really dominant display so far, as well as Ted, really consistent from the pair of them to pretty much dominate this race from lights to flag. Haven't quite hit the flag yet, and we're going on to the final lap of the race. Davila then, he's got ERS in his pocket, he's got DRS down towards turn 1. Has he got enough? Is he close enough? Sorry, with the 3-second time penalty, clear enough to Rastlo behind though. These two, practically nothing in the tank for them in terms of battery. Ethan hasn't even got fuel mode to defend with, so here comes Davila on the counter-attack. A lap later from when Patterson took his podium, he's going to go to the inside. Patterson covers the inside as much as he can and swoops back to the outside to take it around the outside, and he's come off a little bit too much, and Davila's been sent round. Is he going to lose the place to Conan? No, he's not. He's going to stay in P4. But a big, big shame then. And Patterson picks himself up a 3-second time penalty. Big, big controversial incident there. Did Patterson give enough room? Davila was certainly right to go for it. Did Patterson maybe get a little bit too desperate? But he's hanging on in P3. He's really low on fuel in this final lap. Davler nearly 6 seconds behind. He's not going to be happy with that, I can tell you that much. Scott on the back of QB. This is the fight for P10. QB going a little bit backwards, and Vardy falling down a couple of places as well. What's penalties looking like? I believe it's 3 for Starry and 3 for Ethan at the moment. Here comes Scott closing on QB. Is he going to go for it? Looking to the outside, but didn't really know where to go. Just that closing speed overwhelmed him a little bit. Aces with the fastest lap of 42.0. Really, really fast lap from the Ferrari, who's been showing some really good form recently as well. Here comes Scott. He's got a little bit more ERS to use. You can see the AlphaTauri, the red light blinking, so having to conserve. And to the inside goes the McLaren. Gripping the inside of turn number 3, and that is Scott into the top 10. And Vardy making the most of it as well, getting a nice run coming towards turn number 5. Oh, and he's on the outside, and the AlphaTauri's clipped him. That was a really awkward incident there, and something you don't often see. Sumo does take the win though, completely missed it. He's miles in front, takes the win ahead of Ted at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Great drive from both of them, and Patterson rounding off the podium. But maybe a penalty could be coming his way. Davila across the line finishes a nice P4 from pole. Conan, another great drive from the man in the Ferrari across the line. And takes P5 with Pav. Pav's not close, not too far behind. Starry with another great drive. Getting himself well into the top 10 today. That's P7 for the Renault. Rasto as well on debut. Started P2, got a drive through and takes P7 after Starry's penalties. The face is P9. And Sumo does take his first win of the season as well, which is something you like to see. New race winner of season 2. And you can tell he's very, very chuffed for that, dominating from lights to flag. Tier takes P12, Vardy takes P12 after penalties, QB now across the line a few minutes later. Just waiting for Wayne to cross the line. He's on the run now. And we'll take P17. And that was the first of 2 races tonight, ladies and gents. And congrats to Patterson for taking drive of the day. Certainly do agree. If it weren't for one incident at the end, it definitely would have been a flawless drive to the podium. He takes P3 at the moment. But Sumo takes his first win of the season ahead of Ted, championship leader, and extending that championship lead over Vardy. Patterson rounding off the top 3 with Davler and Conan rounding off the top 5. Paus P6, Rasto in P7. Starry, who faced us, and Scott rounding off the top 10 with Aces in P11. Vardy P12, Tier P13, QB P14, that is certainly a mouthful. S-Man in P15, Kizigizi P16, and Wayne rounding off the grid in P17. We're not deprived of action in that race. Some good battles up and down the field, but mostly just DRS overtakes. So hopefully we can see more side-by-side action in Austria for the reverse grid race. So don't go anywhere, guys. It won't be long now. The fans definitely backing Patterson with this one. Certainly on the limit. Patterson wanting to defend that P3. Davila up the inside. Things happen. Now, a bit of a break now as they set the grid for race 2. So don't go anywhere. Go for the toilet. Go whatever you need. yeah, don't go anywhere, guys. Bit of a break now. I'm going to give my voice a bit of a rest. If you can't tell, it is very, very raspy because I don't even know. Very, very momentary. Yeah, very temperamental was my voice. That was the not momentarily, very temperamental. So yeah, apologies if there's any mic mutes or whatever. It's probably because I'm dying of my own cough. But hopefully I won't die. Just need to rest the voice a little bit. Yeah, definitely, Ethan. It's just the logistics of it all. We don't have that much time in the interval, but and getting everyone added to the party is a bit of a nightmare. Waiting for them to join, then interview and whatever. Definitely something we can look forward to the future, though. I think I do, Paul. To be fair, I felt a bit rough all week, and going to school certainly didn't help. But yeah, something happened at the end of last week, and I think I might have strained my voice a bit too hard, and it's caused me to get a cold and what have you. Yeah, definitely not 100%. So apologies if the comms lack a little bit because of it. Still giving 110%. Got the Rona. No, I've done my my lateral flow test. It's not coronavirus, but we are getting underway very soon, guys. Yeah, getting underway for the reverse grid race very soon. No qualifying, just reverse grid. Mark, don't start. Come on. It's no, I'm not even gonna comment. If anyone, it's you, and I'm sure your kneecaps are a little bit sore as well. Unless you've used the cushion, I'm not entirely sure. My knees are A-okay at the moment, so at least I've got that. But nonetheless, sore throat, whatever it might be, we have a race to commentate on. And what a race it's going to be here in Austria. Three long DRS zones followed by some very harsh braking zones and then fast corners all the way. So it's always on the limit here in Austria. There's nothing left on the table. Track limits could pose a bit of an issue as well. And expect to see some very long DRS trains. So Wayne leads the way. 18 laps we'll have of the Red Bull Ring. And the tyres everyone's gone onto. Everyone on softs except for Aces and Sumo. So Wayne leads the way. Kizagiza joins him on the front row. S-Man P3, QB P4, Tier P5, Vardy P6. Very uncharacteristically high position for Vardy to be starting for this second race. Aces P7, Scott P8, have Aces P9. Starry rounding off the top 10, Rasto in P11, Powers P12, Conan P13, Davler 14th, Patterson 15th, Ted 16th, and Sumo 17th. No retirement so far today, so it's a clean reverse grid. And predicted prop stop strategy, soft to medium, soft to hard. I would certainly hedge my bets that they're going to go from soft to medium. Maybe soft to hard if there's an early safety car, but we'll have to wait and see. Everyone's going to be eager towards turn 1. It's not the best overtaking opportunity. Rounding now to the grid is Wayne and Kiza. And that's certainly going to be trying to make his fans proud is Ethan. He's going to be looking to put on a show and make him proud. And lining up onto the grid ahead of 5 red lights. Green flag is being waved. You get ready for 5 red lights. Very short run to turn 1. Cars are revving up. The adrenaline's pumping. We've got 5 red lights illuminating your screen. And we're underway in racing. It's a really good start from Wayne already. Kiza already pulling to the right hand side just to try and cover him off. There's a tier going into turn 1. But so far so good from everyone. Hayes is getting himself up into P4. Already an incredible start running side by side with Tier. There's already a safety car with QB out of this race. God knows what's happened there, but full course yellow so far. Sumo been given a 5-second time penalty for collision with Ted. It's all kicked off. We go that entire race at Baku of all places without an incident. And we've come in to Austria and it's very much all kicking off. Safety car is out. So race pretty much neutralised now. And Wayne holds the lead ahead of Kiza and S-Man, so we're going to go for a full race restart soon. And Paul Joblin's always proud. Ethan always doing him proud. Up to P7 on this lap, in fact. That was a remarkable start, if that is true. Up 8 places, how has he done that? That was remarkable stuff. Must have just got an insane exit off turn 1 before the safety car, but up 8 places. That is very much incredible. And is anyone going to come into the pit lane? So Sumo, Scott and Vardy, well, no, it said Vardy was in the pit lane. Yes, indeed, Vardy is in the pit lane. So Sumo, Scott and Vardy all into the pit lane as the timing starts to sort itself out, as well as Davler going for the hard compound tyre, I would imagine, to the end of the race. Davler, in fact, going for the mediums, and so is Ted. Sumo playing it safe, a new wing and some new hard tyres. And hopefully we can get back onto green flag racing very, very soon. You can already see Wayne has caught up to the safety car and going to be lining up behind. So we've just got to wait for the 2 Red Bulls and the Renault to catch up. And then we should be going in the next couple of laps or so. Yeah, so on to lap 3, and we've had a corner worth of green flag racing. At least most of the people got away unscathed. We should be able to get going soon, as long as Vardy decides to pucker up his ideas and catch up. And Conan now coming into the pit lane, so he's decided to do that pretty late. And he's going to lose a little bit more positions because of it, and at QB is not too happy with that. Perhaps you could give us a bit more insight as to what happened, because I didn't quite manage to catch it. I just saw you in a wall. So, shame for you there. I'm not entirely sure as to what happened there, but everyone's queued up again, so hopefully we can get back to green flags just at the end of this lap. Maybe Ferrari, yeah, might have been. Shame in fact for you, QB. You were driving really well today so far, but shame. Head up and improve it for next week. Get yourself further up the grid. Get yourself further up the grid there. You should be fine. Finish higher in the first race, and you won't be surrounded by them. You know. Of course, I only joke. So the Wayne is peeled off. The safety car is peeled off. Not the Wayne is peeled off. Wayne is firmly still here, backing everyone up, warming his tyres up, ready for the safety light to come in. And now he's punished it very early for the restart. He actually has caught him off guard. Goes very wide, picks himself up a 3-second time penalty as we go green up once again, and everyone very, very close off this restart. That is Face is going very, very slowly off the restart. In fact, Ace is looking for the move on S-Man. With Patterson and Tier closing up right behind him. The fight for the podium very much on. He's using his overtake. Ace is gunning for that podium. He's been on it quite recently. He's going to go to the outside of turn number 3. Can he get it stopped? Yes, he can. Around the outside. Just about gets it stopped. The Racing Point coming back up the inside, but he's going to straighten the car up and get a really nice run now down towards turn number 4. And the Mercedes is going to try and push him through with Tier. He's going to be on the outside of the Racing Point. It's going to be a very tight squeeze. Can he go for it? Yes, he can. He is going to send it, but the Racing Point's so in deep, and that's going to push them both off, and Patterson going to get his way through, and that is a big spin there. Going to promote a lot of people coming through. Luckily, they've managed to keep the cars rolling, but certainly less than ideal, and not the start they'd have wanted off this restart. So Patterson up to P3. Ace is settling in right behind him. Face is charging after him. Starry up the inside, trying to defend from Rasto, but Powers has managed to get his way through with that backwards momentum. And Starry losing even more places. Might have to be pulling himself into the pit lane. Indeed he is. Wayne leads off the first lap of the restart. That's also a very, very wide Wayne. He's gone off at turn 1. He's pulling himself over. What has happened here? The race leader off. And Hephaestus on the back of Aces. Ace is going to the inside to defend. Remember, on those mediums should be slower, but Hephaestus is going as deep as he can around the outside. Maybe going to try and set up the cutback. Indeed he is. He's going to have the nice run off the exit of that and down the inside on the run towards the infield sections. And around the outside, can he get it? No, he can't. Goes in a bit too deep, and Ace is going to manage to hang on for that one. There's still yellow flags through sector 1, and Wayne having an absolute nightmare on this lap. Not the lap he would have wanted at all. Ted with 3-second time penalty as well. He's got Sumo behind, trying to cut his way through the field. Remember, these guys have already pit. Very shaky from Davler as well. He's charging after Scott. The big tyrants at the front, and Patterson on that absolute mission. He's running side by side down towards turn 1, and that is a move you don't often see, because Kieser could well easily have got a cutback. And now with DRS is going to try and launch the counter attack. He's going to have another look down, maybe towards turn number 3. And with DRS open, he's got a lot of ERS to use, just can't quite get the power down as effectively as he'd have liked. And now with Powers charging after them as well. Here's Davler looking for Scott. He's using what's little left battery in his And there is also Tig going up the inside of Rasto. Side by side they go through turn number 3. Still going to be side by side. The McLaren around the outside. Still again around the outside. It will turn the inside for turn number 5 if he can keep it. Indeed he can. But the Mercedes going for a nice little cutback. Going right underneath him. And still going to run side by side. But Rasto just about going to hang on to this one. Lovely bit of racing though. But Scott and Davila edging ever closer to these guys. Patterson currently leads the way. He's really good in these sprint races. Gets his way through the field really quickly and effectively. Still yellow flags. Aces on the back of Kieser though. The fight for P2 still on. Going very deep, both of them. And he can't use that momentum wisely. That's going to allow Hephaestus and maybe even Paus to have a look. Still a long way to get his way through. Aces with an incredible amount of overspeed. Now darting to the inside of turn number 2. And he's going to barge that AlphaTauri out the way. Not giving it any inches. And cleanly getting himself up. Paus edging in the background. He's got a little bit more ERS than the majority of these guys in the train, so sitting back waiting for his moments. There's another timing glitch is getting in the way a little bit. We've got the 2 McLarens followed by Davila in P9 as well. That is Giza running side by side with Hephaestus having another look, but can't quite get it up there. And Paus now with the backwards momentum having a look. And he certainly wants the podium. He's going to super all the way around the outside, keep his foot in. What an incredible move from Paus to get him into the top 4. That is something you don't often see. Went to the outside, just kept the momentum rolling and let Kieser get caught up on that curve. A great move from Paus, and he's now setting his sights on the podium with Patterson now with a 3-second penalty. It could be anyone's game as Kieser peels himself into the pit lane. Scott working nicely with Davila here, trying to save some ERS and close up to the guys in front. There is yellow flags through sector 1, not too sure what's happened there. Hephaestus gets a bit shaky, which is going to allow Paus to close, and Paus definitely wants to get himself on the podium for the second week running. Hephaestus defends from a long way back, and that is going to allow Paus to go all the way around the outside. Maybe really good at those types of moves, as Paus really sending it deep on the brakes, and he's got an incredible exit now fighting for P3. In the Alfa Romeo, he's tucked right in the slipstream, but has he got enough? He's not going to use his overtake. He's going to pull to the inside, doesn't need it, under brakes down to 3rd gear, gets the move done, and Hephaestus doesn't really have much to say about that except for maybe a good exit, push the button, and now run side by side with him towards turn number 6 around the outside. But Paus is just going to quite comfortably claim that position and now set his sights on Aces in front. Very good bit of racing from Paus there in the last couple of laps to get him into P3. Now with these guys working together, Rasto's fallen very far back. Maybe a bit of a spin or something of the sort has happened, but a long train here between the so-called tyrants of Scott, Davila and Sumo and Vardy. Still very close and working together. But maybe Ted is going to look for a move very soon. That's yellow flag through sector 2 again. I believe that is S-Man. Davila having a look into turn 1. That's going to send him very wide, and Ted now with a nice bit of momentum could look for P7. Hephaestus closing on Paus as well to get the counter attack. Is he got enough to go to the inside? No, he hasn't. He's not got the ERS. He's not got that 140 brake horsepower to get him back up the inside. So Davila able to hang on and now looking to set his sights on Scott. And he is closing, but is it enough into turn 3? He's going to pull to the inside. How late can he go on the brakes? Not late enough. Now Davila closing on Scott. He's pushed the button, darting to the inside. The McLaren's going to squeeze him as much as he can. Bit of contact between the two, and that's going to allow Ted to maybe drive up the inside of the McLaren. He's going to have a look. The door is open. But that is a nice bit of racing from Davila there to get himself up. Really found the space when he needed to. And Ted maybe with a nice bit of backwards momentum could find himself closing on Scott. He's now behind Davila, who's used quite a bit of ERS to do so. Paus closing on Aces, maybe got a P2 on the cards here. Very nice run through turn 1 from Scott, but can't quite use it. Goes a little bit wide on the exit, so that is going to cost him and maybe put him under pressure. But he's using his ERS. He's coming back at Davila to the inside of turn number 2 and under brakes. Can the Alfa Romeo go around the outside? Bit of a lock up, jumps the curb and claims that corner very nicely. And Ted now trying to get involved as well with Sumo behind looking, and Davila on the counter attack already. Ted with a front row seat to all of it. Davila can't brake late enough under in towards turn 3 down the hill, and Scott very sideways. That's going to invite all of them through, or at least both of them. Sumo might have a little bit of a look, but that is a costly mistake from Scott. Very uncharacteristic one as well, with Paus now within the DRS range of Aces. Thank you, Jamie Morris. Pleasure to have you in the stream. That is Aces and Pals both peeling into the pit lane, not adhering to the white lines whatsoever, but we will allow it. Is anyone else coming in? Davla's going to stay out. Ted is going to stay out. All of these guys have already pitted and could be looking good. But lap 11 of 18, they've gone very long on these tyres. Pals into the pit lane. What's he going to? Medium tyres. So long as he doesn't get held, that is a nice pit stop from the Alphas. Could see him out in a really good position. And do these guys go to the end? I would imagine they can get to the end. So, very strategical masterclass if they have pulled this off. That's very deep from Conan, nearly into the back of the Red Bull. Well avoided there, but that's going to be costing him quite a heap of time. And now Davla inherits the race lead. In front of Scott, in front of Ted and in front of Scott, I should say. Lewis, you are too kind. So Conan and Sumo sort of broken away from this train here. A couple of mistakes might have cost him, and Sumo now on these hard tyres going to start feeling those effects. And Conan managing to play that off brilliantly. He's found himself up the inside. Nice bit of a double cutback move to get himself into the top 5. And that's very wide from Vardy. Going to pick himself up a warning from that for no doubt. And you guys are too flattering, honestly. That soon, wow, incredible stuff. Vardy closing on Scott for the fight for the podium. Paus, Sumo in fact might have picked up some damage, so going for the socks, going for the fastest lap. And Scott very wide through turn 2. That's very deep. He's mounted the curb, so Vardy's going to have a look. Maybe get himself onto the podium. Of course, one of the only drivers to not have picked up a penalty is going to be outside for turn 3. The McLaren going in very deep, so the Red Bull going to go underneath him. Very intelligent to see that coming. He knew the McLaren was going in deep, so just said, well, you can go in deep. I'm going underneath you. And that is why Vardy is so high up in the championship and now chasing after his main championship protagonist. And some incredible stuff from Vardy to chase after his teammate. Very dominant display in the Constructors' Championship as well. But Ted on the back of Davila, he wants a slice of the cake to get that win. Davila kept it clean though. He's not got a penalty. Anything can happen in the next 6 laps though. Towards turn 1, Davila jumping the curb. Ted with a nice run here. He's going to have the slipstream. Davila now having to conserve energy, so is Ted, running very low, going to pull to the inside. The Alfa Romeo tried to cover it off, but now he's going to try and open up the corner as much as he can, as late as he can. Under brakes, the Red Bull on the inside. The Alfa swooping all the way around the outside, a bit squirmy on the exit though, but he's still got a good enough exit. He's now going to have the DRS to try and counter-attack him. And down towards turn 3, the Red Bull defends, now pulling to the outside as the Alfa commits, and around the outside you can see how much later he breaks. Big lock up there, still going to be side by side on the exit. The Red Bull pushing him all the way, and he is going to claim this position. Yes, he is, but the Alfa pushing the overtake button to come back at him, and he's just going to have to settle in behind there. Not the most intelligent thing to do if he was going to send that there, so he's going to have to settle in, maybe go for it in a moment. And I'm sure you would, Jamie. Starry and Sumo fighting a little bit here. Sumo probably blitzing his way through on those soft compound tyres as we round off lap 13, right it away, and now lap 14 of 18. Here is Davila now in the slipstream of Ted, who's really much white lining this. You can see picking up some grass and putting it all the way to the left hand side as soon as Davila commits, but Davila just late enough on the brakes, gets the drive off the corner as well. A great move for the race lead there from Davila. And Sumo setting some blistering pace on those fresh soft compound tyres, and now as the cars get a little bit lighter, the chassis is going to be a bit more agile. That's going to allow him to set some better lap times, but still can't take our eyes off this battle at the front. Ted, the only one of the top 3 to have a penalty that could cost him dearly. Might be intelligent to let his teammate maybe have a go at Davila. Only a couple of car lengths separate the top 3 at the moment. Ted goes a little bit too deep. He's not got a lot of ERS, neither does Davila, but a lot more. He's already to the white line to defend, breaking that toe, but Ted isn't close enough. And Vardy's just sat back. He's banked up. Look how much ERS he's banked up. He's going to be able to deploy this all at a moment's notice to get his way through. As soon as he sees that blinking red light, And he is now closing on his teammate. He's going to pull to the inside. Ted has a little look to defend, but he's going to let his teammate go, I think. Releases the brakes, but Vardy up to P2 and now setting his sights on Davila. It's crucial he gets this right. He's got 4 laps of this race remaining. 15, 16, 17, 18. He needs to make every one of these laps count if he wants to take this victory. No penalties between the top 2, so it's all down to brute strength and who comes out on top. He is still in the DRS. He's got almost triple. In fact, actually, he has got triple the ERS of Davila. Wayne picks himself up 3 seconds. Ted closing. Still behind, ready to pick up the pieces if anything does go wrong. So we'll have to wait and see, but great strategical masterclass from these guys to hang on. And Davila now picking up the pace, but Vardy closing in, using that ERS where it counts to try and break himself back into that virtual tow hook. You can see already doing so. Davila running out of ERS, running out of options. Patterson now deploying the move on Conan, getting himself onto the back of this top 5 fight. And Conan defends, but Patterson with the freshest tyres should be able to blitz past around the outside. How late can he brake? Pretty late by the sounds of it. He managed to get it stopped, get the car going on the exit as well. Very nice move. Scott on the back of Ted though. Ted going backwards. Scott for the move for the podium, down the inside into turn 3. And he's going to get it stopped this time, learn his mistake and carry on and keep the car rolling. So now a 2-horse race at the front. Davila and Vardy fighting his way through. And that is my phone I have just dropped. Hopefully no damage. But now as we come on to the penultimate lap, we've rounded off lap 16. Vardy going to push the button very soon. Pass with a 3-second time penalty. Davila straight to the inside to defend. Ted trying to get onto the back of Scott to get himself back onto the podium. Equal pegging when it comes to penalties, I believe. No, in fact, Scott has all penalties that Ted does. And now Vardy, if he is clever, he's going to wait an extra lap. He knows Davila's weak. He's going to wait until he can't get him back. He doesn't want to use up all his energy just yet, so you can see waiting for that final lap when Davila won't have an opportunity to get him back. It's a very intelligent play from Vardy so far. He's actually pushed the button. He's going to try and close. He knows Davila's weak. He knows he's vulnerable, so he's going to push it. Can he go late enough on the brakes? Yes, he can. He pulls, has a little look. Scares Davila. Lets Davila know he's not going to fiddle around him. He's going to go for the move when it counts, and Ace is getting himself past his teammate up into the top 6 on those fresh tyres. And Ted putting the pressure on Scott as well. 2-horse race in the top 4. Going in pairs. Yellow flags, who's set for 2. Something's happened, but Ted up the inside of Scott. Scott tried to keep it around the outside. Ted picks himself up another 3-second time penalty. So it's now equal pegging for these two. And with Patterson breathing down their necks coming onto the final lap, it definitely could get spicy. This all counts for Vardy now. This is the lap that counts. If he wants to win this race, he needs to push the button. He cannot sacrifice anything. Patterson on the back of Scott as well. Could maybe find himself on the podium. How much penalties has he got? He's got less penalties. So Patterson on for a podium here. On for a double podium. Vardy picks himself up 3 seconds though on the last lap. That is absolutely heartbreaking. Maybe he can win it on track. But he's banked up so much, it'd be a shame to not see him win it on track. Patterson closing on Scott. Has a little look, but knows he doesn't need to do anything rash. He sends Scott in deep, so going to look up the inside. Scott all over the curb, so Patterson gets a lovely drive off turn 2. And now Vardy closing on Davila. Can he go for it? He's going to look, but not send. He can't find his way through, so Davila making that rear diffuser as wide as possible. Scott looking back on Patterson, but can't quite get him. And now Patterson setting his eyes on Ted, but probably going to run out of time. He knows his penalties are less, so he can just sit back and maybe hope for a double podium. And an incredible bit of driving from Patterson. Vardy through thick and thin has tried his best. He banked up a lot of ERS, but Davila just made that car as wide as it could possibly be, and kept it clean with no penalties now through the final corner. Scott with another 3 seconds and a drag race to the line. Vardy versus Davila. Davila takes the win here for Alfa Romeo with Vardy second, and a double podium for Red Bull at the Red Bull Ring. And Aces, in fact, with no penalties, crosses the line in P3. So Patterson doesn't even get on the podium. Aces kept it clean, used those soft tyres and finds himself on the podium. And Patterson P4, Ted P5, Paus in P6. Double P6 finish for Paus there. Very consistent stuff. Nice to see. Conan in P7, Scott in P8, her faceless P9 with Sumo P10. Waiting for Rasso to round the final corner now. And that's going to be P11 for him. A couple of good races, definitely a good qualifying for him, but couldn't quite convert in the race, unfortunately. And Wayne in P13, S-Man P14, Geezer. We're just going to wait for now in a couple of moments. Patterson ran out of fuel but still managed to finish P4, so still a great race for him. And I'm sure the fans will not be too displeased about that one. And Vardy, in fact, as well as Scott, both on the... both on elite assists for the first time and finishing on the podium, and Scott in P8 granted, but he was definitely up there for a good deal of that race. That will conclude tonight's action. Thank you, Paul. It's a pleasure to have you in and supporting Ethan, as you always do. Make sure to like the stream if you have enjoyed, guys. So that does conclude 2 fantastic races. And driver of the day going to Davila, definitely have to agree, held off brilliantly towards the end, despite Vardy having some incredible pace. And well-deserved victory, taking redemption for Baku. So Davila is your race winner for the sprint race, starting from 14th on the grid ahead of Vardy, who rounds off P2. Aces in P3, Patson P4, Ted P5, Paus P6, good consistent night from him, and Conan P7, Scott P8 with Faces and Tier rounding off the top 10, Sumo in P11, Rasto P12, Sari P13, Wayne in P14, S-Man P15, Geezer in P16, and QB rounding off the grid in P17. So that rounds off tonight's action, everyone. Round number 7, the penultimate round of the APPF1 Season 2 Sprint Championship, brought to you, of course, by TC Focus, an incredible car photographer on Instagram. So do make sure to go give him a like and follow. Some incredible pictures of cars there, especially classical cars there. So if that is something you're interested in, definitely go check him out. But if you have enjoyed on my part, I have been Zach Sweeney. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time, guys. Goodbye.